Hey, I think Amy or Donna, they have a little bit of flair. Let's just wait for the cards. It'd be crooked if it did. My wife doesn't let me touch a thing. No, don't touch that. Okay. What was I supposed to say? So.
Perfect, you did it. I got to know the whole. He is dying. He was being
Hey, Claire, I just sent it over to you. So if you don't see it.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
So I told that Amy's gonna.
All right, 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday, October 7th, 2024 Credit River City Council meeting. We will begin with approving or amending the agenda. Is there any changes anybody'd like to the agenda tonight? I will make one change. I am requesting to remove a claim from the payments tonight. I'd like to remove the citizen serve claim.
Numbers that.
It's in the list of
okay.
claims, but they're just that particular, I would like to approve the rest, but just remove that one.
Okay.
Take a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I have two changes I'd like to make to the agenda. The first one being I'd like to pull 3.1 under the consent agenda and put that under general business.
Okay,
And that's just for a minor change in wording. And then I would like to make a motion tonight to add an agenda item for tonight's meeting based on a petition that the city council received this afternoon at 3:30, signed by 9 property owners related to the city's current maximum density allowed of 1 unit per 40 acres in land classified as diversified rural in our existing comp plan. Specifically, if added to the meeting agenda, I will ask the council to reconsider its decision to deny having our city planner prepare an analysis that was outlined in MSA's September 20th memo and presented at the September 20th city council meeting. So all the information that would be part of that discussion tonight, if approved, being put back on the agenda has already been given to the public, given to the city council, so we all know that information. So my motion is to add agenda item, whatever you want to call it, and I guess we could call it reconsider approving the 9/20/24 MSA proposal. So that's my motion.
Are you making that a motion? Or you're just asking to add
I believe I have to make a motion and have it approved by the city council to agree to putting it on the agenda because our bylaws require that.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
So addressing the addition to the agenda for regarding bills would be 7.7 MSA proposal. I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Now I still need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion as amended.
Second.
Did
Mr.
you have
Mayor,
something else?
just curious about the claims. So are we saying we're keeping the claims in the consent agenda without,
Removing the one claim.
so I think we should pull that then, because I have a question on why we're pulling that.
Okay. So we'll just pull 3.2, that'll become 7.8. Just has to do with the number of licenses.
Okay.
Is all it is. We don't need the number of licenses they want to charge us for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might modify your motion?
I'll modify my motion to include Gabe's.
Gabe's.
Gabe's amended.
John, Tim, whatever.
It's been a long day, I'm sorry.
Are you still gonna second then?
Sure, I'll still say. With discussion.
All right, I've got a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the noted changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. I saw Deputy Pearson here somewhere. Hiding in the office. Good afternoon, good evening.
Eric is trying to work with technology.
Struggle with it. You want that, yeah.
I bought a lot of.
City.
Yep, and then scroll all the way to the bottom.
That's it.
Yep. So. Again, based off of our fun little pie chart that we've got, everybody like it? She's gonna work on the color. Her computer was not cooperating with her today, so.
It's an autumn.
This is what we got, so.
It's October.
Yeah, so for the calls of service in September, obviously the largest was our suspicious with 23%. Welfare checks at 17. Hazards at 11, accidents at 17%. We did have another round of motor vehicle tamperings down in the Monterey Heights development towards the end of the month. That weekend, it was not just Credit River, it was Elko, Lakeville, Burnsville, Shakopee, Savage. I've got another one in there. All got hit. There was a large area that got hit overnight, ranging between 2 and 5 a.m. Is when the incidences were taking place. So as a friendly reminder, most of these are crimes of opportunities. When you watch videos that were being provided, they're jumping out of a car, running up to a car door and locating the vehicle with an unlocked door. They're rummaging through it, taking it, basically going after money, gift cards, that type of thing. They have now stepped up a little bit and are taking garage door openers, making a loop, coming back and opening the garage door and then going through the vehicles in the garages as well. So along with the motor vehicle tamperings, there was one vehicle that was stolen. The key fob for that vehicle was left in the garage. They gained access from one vehicle, key fob was in the other vehicle, and off they went. So, that friendly reminder, I think we're all guilty of it that have newer vehicles with a push button, you throw a key, grab the key fob, you throw it in a cup holder, you think nothing of it. But remembering to take the key fobs out of vehicles, double checking, to make sure vehicles are locked at night. We're doing extra patrols through the area again. We've been doing them. It's kind of a hit or miss. Obviously, we can't be in all areas at one time. So when we're in one area, the north side's getting hit, coming down through Savage, so. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we have to deal with regularly now. So, the individuals are being smart. You look at the video, they have gloves on, they're wearing masks, sweatshirts, so it's very, very hard to identify them. Even when we do get some sort of video, there's not much there for us to be able to go off of, so. Lock up your items, lock up your vehicles, take anything valuable out of them. That's really the one big recommendation that I can make.
Deputy, are they coming back or they do it once and then you don't see them again?
So typically kind of what we see is they'll hit an area and then they'll go away for a couple months. So if you remember that Credit River had kind of that same area territory, was late May, early June. They hit this area, and then they move on to another area, move on to another area, and then they work their way back around. So it's probably the same group. They're familiar with the area. And like I said, they're showing up in a vehicle, 3, 4, maybe 5 individuals. Pull up, you can see them all get out of the, they run up to doors, they'll run back, and then the vehicle drives up to the next one. And if they happen to get in, they get in, so.
Wasn't that around the same time that the western suburbs were being hit at some higher valued homes and areas too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do you think it's related or?
I don't think it's related, can't say that it's not, but
Yeah.
based off of kind of the control that we see here,
It's a little
the
different.
same thing that we've been seeing
Yeah.
regularly. Stepping it up a little bit, like I said, with, grabbing the garage door openers and opening garage doors.
Mhm.
As far as we're aware, they haven't made entry through a threshold into a house itself, not saying the garage isn't part of the house. But they actually haven't entered into what I would consider to be the dwelling portion of it, so. But. We're doing our best to try and be in the areas, but it's convenient with basically everywhere that's getting hit, it's, they're coming right off of 35. They were coming across 8 from Lakeville and hitting a couple neighborhoods that are convenient and taking off. What we're finding is they're most likely coming into the area in a stolen vehicle that's not reported stolen yet. So there's been some conversation about getting license plate readers and things like that. It doesn't do a whole lot of good because, like the one here, I mean, the homeowners happen to have caught a notification that told them, but otherwise, if that vehicle drives past us, we run the plate, we just get the normal registered owner information.
Right.
It's not coming back stolen yet because it hasn't been reported. So if you do see suspicious things, obviously call it in. We are more than welcome to come out for nothing. And if you think there's something going on, we'd rather come out, check, than you not, and then find out later on that somebody came through and went through your vehicle, or there was a suspicious vehicle, I didn't think anything of it. We'd rather come out and check, make contact with them, find out why they're in the area, especially at those late hours like that. So, any questions?
Council members? Anything else? Perfect. Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Be safe out there. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. Those items on the council agenda which are considered routine or non-controversial are included as part of the consent agenda. Unless a council member specifically requested an item on the consent agenda be removed and considered separately, items on the consent agenda are considered under one motion, a second, and a vote. Any item removed from consent agenda shall be placed at the end of general business. Tonight on consent agenda, we've got one item that will be approved resolution 2024-35, adopting assessment rules for the 2024 overlay project. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda tonight?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Got a motion and a second to approve consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving into open forum, the public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address the concerns of the council. The public forum will be no longer 30 minutes in length, and each presenter will have no more than 5 minutes to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local governmental topics rather than private or political agendas. The council may discuss but will not take formal action on public forum presentations. I know that Vern signed up. Eric, you want to grab the sign up sheet because
Amy
has it? Okay, would you pass it over, please? Vern, we'll take you first.
Okay,
I think you're on personal list, right?
um,
Yep.
on behalf of some of the residents of Creekwood, I want to thank you for following up on dealing with the dead trees in the park and the trees overhanging the road. That, and I assume the ones overhanging the road that didn't get trimmed are private property. It's just simple as that. So I just wanted to say thanks on their behalf, because I've spoken with a few of them and they're like, finally, you know.
You're close to a Creekwood resident, right? I mean,
Well,
they try to deliver their packages. to
yeah,
you.
yeah, right. So
You weren't using the new basketball nets?
I was
That
not,
are up?
I was
What
not,
the heck?
I wasn't aware they were up, but I'll be there tomorrow. You know, I play college ball.
Oh, there you go. I'll see some videos, Vern. Slam dunking, huh?
Yeah, I think he can still dunk.
Never made big time.
Tim?
Afternoon. We had our neighborhood paved. And I sent an email a couple hours or yesterday. My question is, when the snowplow plows, what are we gonna do with the way the road was paved? Did we have anybody out there to watch it like we asked before? When we're gonna have someone watch this company do the repair work? You can slide left and right. I took a bunch of pictures. When the plow goes to plow, it's not gonna be able to be, this, I don't know what the slope was or whatever it was, I wasn't there. But it looks like the company, Prairie Lake Asphalt, I don't know if they're built for a big project like this. I guess did they do enough compaction with the rollers? They just use a smaller roller.
Certainly got a crown.
Where they started, where they stopped in the curve, it looks like it's, you know, I'm exaggerating like a race car, but. What is the crown of the road supposed to be for the street before it was straight?
Yeah.
This is almost like 2 inches, 3 feet off the center line. All the way to the end.
What was it before, Tim? Any idea?
If you look at the very last one, it's almost even. When I looked at Pebblebrook, that one was a different company. I barely got an inch, inch and a half from the center line out. So my question is, they milled the sides, but not the center, which would have been fine when they were running the paver, but they did not either accumulate for that and make that side of the paver less. Because now it's quite drastic when you walk on it. Plus, we've got dry spots, hot spots, and divots. I mean, one of them is almost a 6-inch drop off from one corner to the next. So my question is, even with the seams where they meet, it's just gonna create water and raw salt to get in there. And it's not gonna last very long, which it's not supposed to. We're getting city water. But for the $82,000 or $88,000, we took a lesser bid. And the quality definitely shows when you look at those pictures where they started and stopped. So my concern is, was the company, what kind of warranty do we have for one thing? And if they just used a regular driveway roller, was there enough of a compaction once the garbage trucks drive on it, the moving trucks, the tree trimming trucks and stuff like that? So my question was someone there and what's gonna happen?
Gene, can I ask you quickly, what do you think of that crown, and do you think that inhibits our ability for road maintenance going forward? Hang on, it's Carl. Would you pass Christina's microphone maybe?
That's what he can use.
Yeah, let's.
All right,
pass it around this way.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
The table there.
so the crown in the road, well, first of all, let me just back up. So this project was not scheduled in our capital improvement plan as an improvement project this year. This was more of like an emergency patch. It does have different specs than our improvement project. So if you're comparing this road to Pebblebrook, Pebblebrook was an improvement project. There we went up with the road, and we also have less driveways. So with Pebblebrook, there was we included in the bid to mill the driveways. A couple of feet is necessary to match each driveway. In Casey Edition, we have a lot more driveways to contend with, and so we use the same process that we kind of been using in other areas with a similar activity, where we mill the edges. And this is also similar to all of the roads that have curb and gutter that we've done overlays on. So all of the roads in Gray Fox, Palomino, which was just done this year, Monterey Heights, South Passage, and Stonebridge. We've done overlays on all those developments, and they've all had this similar crown. The reason that we mill the edges and not the middle is because there's additional strength in the middle. So we try to keep that additional strength in the middle. Yeah, it's not ideal. But we're trying to get the best bang for our buck. And
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't know if the guy running the mill, or not the mill, the paver, compensated that to create that tent. I mean, like that one picture showed, that's the plow when he comes to plow. Granted, he's not gonna go out, well, he does go down the center of the road, but he's gonna leave all that salt and snow and not get down the bare pavement as it is. So my question was, when you go to that one corner, that's quite a drastic, where that girl was holding that level. I don't know what it is, 22 feet out to the other end, what that's gonna be like. So my question is, the water will run off, so we won't get potholes. But even walking on it, it's definitely, you do notice
yeah,
it.
the crown's steeper. I mean, that's what we expected for this type of a project. And
So do they have criteria though that they have to meet, so it can't be a crown of, can't be like that? I mean,
the criteria was to mill the edges and construct a thin lift overlay.
but no like measurements.
So for an improvement project, like normally we have a full
No,
set of
just
plans
for
and
this project,
specifications.
yeah.
For this project, we didn't do a set of plans. That costs extra money, it costs, it adds time. And so we didn't have a big set of plans and a big project manual. We did have specs.
Did they meet their specs?
Yeah, they did. And keep in mind that we're working with an existing road. And so the contractor is not gonna make it look as good as if we removed all the pavement and started all over again. Prior Lake Blacktop has done other roads where they started from scratch. And I think they can do city roads very well. I think they do patches very well. We have had some concerns, and I think mainly, or from my perspective, it's just some of the residents were expecting a higher level of improvement than what was performed this year. So
what's your recommendation that should we do anything? Should we go back to the vendor and say, listen, we have concerns that the crown may be too, I don't know what the proper wording is, the crown's not right. And that we don't believe that the snow plowing is gonna work.
yeah, again, council member Marker, this is the same crown that we have in all of our other roads that have curb and gutter that we've done overlays on. So it does have that broken back, and I agree that it may be not as conducive for bare pavement, but it's also something that's commonly done in the state of Minnesota. So it's something that's not.
Okay.
I'll stop there.
So Pebblebrook, they milled it all the way down and started over, or they just did an overlay?
Mr. Mayor, Pebblebrook was just an overlay. So in that case, we had, the driveways are much more spread apart, and we milled the driveways.
Right, to match.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, if we'd have
Different
went with the bigger bid, would we have gotten the same kind of job this was? We don't know that because we don't know. But was anyone on the job to watch and string line and follow this? So, hey, we're getting to a corner, that's a big drastic. To plow it, we're gonna go through more material, there's gonna be more snow left on the road. Because as the blade goes by,
Yeah, I drove through the project a couple of times. My inspector Luke drove through the project. We didn't sit there the entire time when they were doing the work, but I will take a look at the one intersection that you referenced if you know.
and then the corner on the way to, I think it's Farsi or whatever, but
So Fleming Circle and Farsi, that,
yeah, that one curve is just. It's pretty steep, but I just know that when we do Casey. I'll be taking a vacation day and watching and seeing how it goes, because that should actually be made sure to be commercial grade with all the garbage trucks, all the traffic that has to go in and out of that, John Deere and Casey, because everyone has to leave that. That's a main in and out that probably we want to make sure is more than just a residential street, possibly. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions for me?
Nope.
I got one. I think you're comparing apples to oranges when you're trying to compare Pebblebrook.
Oh, no, Pebblebrook paid. This was a, you guys took care of it,
Yeah,
but the same thing is, it's still $88,000. I
That's fine.
paid, taxpayers paid,
I understand.
okay? And when it comes down to it, I can't fathom that Allied wouldn't have done it. Pavlich or whatever, other companies would have loved to have paved this. Why we keep going with the same neighbor when he doesn't want, I would be disappointed if that was my name on the side of that street when you look at the job.
Okay.
Especially when you go look 2 miles away or look at that McNamara or whatever, they're both blacktop companies. So I know they stripped it down and redid it and overlaid it, but ours was the same deal. Once you strip it down, you're starting to make it look presentable. It wasn't a hurry, we gotta get it done for that reason. That's all I'm
We
saying.
didn't put the same thickness on Casey's edition that went on over at McNamara. Pebblebrook.
The west side.
But the finished
So-
product would still look the same.
It should, but it's hard to do an inch overlay versus a 2-inch overlay.
And also if you're using
To-
an 8 foot by 8 foot roller versus the big Power Max pushing it down too. And waiting for the truck to show back up and it's a hot spot, a cold spot, and they get the seams together. I get that. It's way better than it was. Don't get me wrong, but when you're looking at the money, we saved $29,000 and it shows, I guess is my only question. We gotta be better on the next one. The main one that gets all the traffic. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody else for open forum tonight? You can leave that one. Yeah. All right, we'll close open forum and move into general business. General business 7.1. Consider setting a special meeting date for canvassing the election results on November 15th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Amy, you added this one to the agenda.
I did. We received information from Scott County Elections that November 15th is the last day that we can canvass the election. They are also pretty sure that they would not be able to get us the abstracts before that. And so they were hoping that we could schedule a meeting that day. Tanya, as the election coordinator, thought that 9 a.m. would probably be good if that would work for everybody. And so that's what we're proposing.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Council members, does that date and time work? We get.
Do we just need a quorum? I can't make it.
I believe, yeah. Just a
Up to
quorum.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm out of town, otherwise I would.
I mean, I should be able to make it.
Yeah, when she called me, I said, well, I'm up for election, and so is Bill, and she goes, oh, then I shouldn't have called you guys, so.
But
But
there's
yeah,
always three.
That's after the election, though, isn't it?
So. You're
That's
still
it.
on, you're still on the council, you're still on the council, you still have to
Yeah.
canvass the election.
No, I can make it.
Yeah. So it sounds like,
Yeah.
I think we have a quorum that day,
Yep.
so.
Okay.
We will set that date.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay. All right. We need a motion for that one, or are we good with agreeing to that date?
I prefer a motion if you would, Mayor. So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All right, so I've got Satterbach for the motion. I've got Schomer for the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And look at this, Amy's stepping up. She's got 2 agenda items tonight. Consider a city newsletter policy. Clerk Jones.
Pass out quickly.
Draft copy.
Draft copy. of the Credit River Flow.
Oh, boy.
They can take a look. Right,
Endless hours at night coming up with that, didn't you?
actually, it was pretty easy, idea to have,
That's good.
yes. So we are looking at, a quarterly city newsletter. We want to promote increased engagement, outreach, and the flow of information to the residents and members of the community. A lot of cities already do this at least quarterly, and they are a source of timely information and reminders of important dates such as the elections and the city council meetings. We would benefit from doing this as well as other forms of communication that we can use, which is starting with the website and email lists, and the newsletter would complement that. Because we would be printing and mailing the spring and fall editions physically, but also post those to the website and send them to an email list that people could sign up for. And then winter and summer editions would be online and email only, just to save the postage and the print. I would also like to see if we can set this edition up to be sent out soon so that it will be in people's mailboxes before the election.
Okay,
Pardon me, Amy, and the ask also is to approve the policy.
Yes, right. We have a attached memo that outlines a policy to establish the newsletter and some rules that will govern it going forward.
okay, council members, any questions, comments?
Well, I think it's great.
One thing, Amy, I think you and I talked about this before when we showed this last. How can we use this and somewhere on here? I know the real estate's getting pretty tight. You've used it well. QR code, note on, hey, get to our website to sign up for the electronic version, right?
Yes, that is a plan. I didn't make a QR code yet because we don't have a way to, I didn't set up the email list or anything or the sign up yet, but before that goes out in the mail, we would have that.
Okay, so we could add that somewhere in here.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we can help you. The list, the link to do that is all set up already. We just need to post
Oh,
something
good.
to
Okay,
make
yeah.
a QR code, so.
Yeah.
I mean, does that seem to be the easiest way to get something from paper to your phone to sign up for something is a QR code? I mean, that's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think you could do both. You could have a QR code and just a link
Right, the
underneath
link,
it,
right?
yeah.
well, I think, the other thing too, just, going to our website the first time, it prompts you to sign up for our newsletter, so. Every time you go there with a new IP address, it's gonna ask you that, with my VPN, every time I go there, it's a new, thinks I'm new for the first time, gives me that pop-up, so. I think that'd be the one thing, compliments and using the corgi inside there. I mean, maybe if you want to change it to a red and white corgi, it's called that tricolor.
Right, yeah, that's the kind I had to.
No, this is awesome. I appreciate it. I think this is a lot of work went into this. Looks great.
Is this the size that would show up in your mailbox or would it be?
We actually folded in half and thicker.
Yeah.
So if you look at
Got
the
it.
back, there's a spot there.
Yeah. It would be like
Would
this.
fold right there, yep.
Good.
Cool.
And Mr. Mayor, I have a couple comments. Thank you, first of all. That looks fantastic. I agree wholeheartedly. I think this first one needs to be front and center, how to sign up.
Mhm.
I'd also like to propose not doing twice a year mailings, just once a year. With intense focus on the time that you go out in public and in
Mhm.
paper to register, because there's so much other content that's coming out. For agendas and whatnot that people are missing, that I think that needs to be front and center. But I don't know, I think anyone under 40 doesn't open up their mail. So I think we need to just be aware of that's a lot of extra costs that we're putting there. So I do think once would be great rather than twice.
Do you think there's value? The first, call it year, maybe do it once this year, twice next year to get through that, to see how many signups we get. Abe, I'm just speaking out loud, right? Just thinking of, how do we make sure that we try to capture and get people to see it a couple times and sign up? That's my thought on that.
I mean, I'd be open to doing it twice in the first year, just to
Yeah.
have people go out there, but then I think what we should also do is monitor how many logins happen after it, right?
Yeah.
If we see it go up from, I'm totally making up numbers, 100 residents that have signed up for the newsletter, and then they got that and it went up to 300, well, it's a pretty good, tell that that's increased dramatically, and we might not have to continue to do that all the time.
Right.
At some point, you're gonna have a diminishing return on
Yeah.
the
The
people
papers.
logging or
Mhm.
signing up for it. So I'd feel a lot more comfortable saying once a year, and then we can make exceptions for,
Special things. or
Years
something
that we
like
want
that. Yeah.
and I would also say maybe the first one, when it's print, maybe it has some council input, or I don't know how council input comes into here at all, especially being new.
So whatever it's worth, your want my 2 cents on it, we develop these things. I would offer to council to remain out of the creation of the newsletter. Entirely, leave that to Amy to develop the objective, for lack of a better word. Presence of what the city might want to communicate. The staff is charged to be that non take sides type person, and so the way staff should see the newsletter is, hey, here's the budget, here's what the council's doing, or here's some park events coming up next year, or here's the calendar. I would offer not to allow, and we put in the policy, notes from the mayor, so to speak, or notes from the council, because then you can get competing positions. And now you're not telling the city story as a whole. Let Amy or this person edit it and just kind of give it its best shot. And if they deviate too far, well, then we can all kind of circle back, but yeah, political content or editorials or highlights of elected officials get into some gray areas you might want to steer away from, for good or bad.
I agree. However, there's some really important topics out there for the community right now, like a government center.
Oh, but those can come from
And-
staff to say the council is discussing.
Yes, absolutely.
That's kind of stuff.
Yes, it's less about the
individual.
but more of a topic.
Absolutely, that's what I mean.
Yes, I wanna be able to have some input on topics, like, I'd love to see something about the
Oh, I got you.
government center.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, any input.
I think,
from that.
you know, given the broad topic, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? Hey, it'd be great, this would be a great thing for the newsletter.
Yes, you don't
And
want
let
me
Amy
to
run with it.
edit.
Mill and
Yes,
overlay.
that's not what I'm-
and-
yes.
and-
What, yeah.
Upcoming street
Road
projects.
projects,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. So today we have 1,447 subscribers to our email list.
How many?
1,447.
That's
How
pretty
many
good.
residences do we have?
1,900 properties?
Yeah, something like that, 1,900 properties. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
it is good. I mean, 6,000, almost 6,000 residents, so if you go by the population, it's, yeah.
Do we have a
But if
way
you
to
get
see how
by-
many bounce backs?
Yeah,
Are any of those duplicates? We have a husband, wife that are both.
I'm just looking at the raw numbers, right? 2% of them bounced. 44, the last bulletin was sent out, which was the agenda for this meeting. 44% were open, 17% were clicked from there. So that's actually decent for when you look at email
What was the
marketing.
numbers again, I'm sorry?
44% people open the email. Of those people, 17% of those clicked on the link to the agenda.
Some of the nuances of newsletters over the years I've experienced is, everybody sends out an email, digital updates, but when they come to your house, we all still get mail. It might get passed around at the dinner table, it might get passed around in the living room, it might catch the husband, the wife, the child, somebody else in the household, just besides that emailed person. I live in Washington County. I get the county update, I actually read it, for a lot of reasons, and, so the email tools are great, but this is one that, I think you can reach an audience, maybe in an even slightly deeper level of information and then, I don't know, I think about.
Okay. Is there any questions of the policy? Otherwise, I think that's the one piece, you know, well, we probably need a motion to approve the first edition, and then we'll do a separate motion then to approve the policy.
I'll make a motion to do it with 2 mailings, at least the first year. Can we specify that?
So are you approving the policy, or are you approving the first?
Actually the mailer,
Okay, so you want to do the first one, let's
or do you want to do the policy first?
do the policy first.
Okay.
And then if I would say.
We're not
add the-
approving this tonight.
No, sir, that's just a
Right.
layout.
I read the first article and it's kind of
Yeah.
like
So
generic.
that's a placeholder because
Come on, that'd be perfect, right? The purpose of this newsletter is to provide specialized information, yeah. All right,
We're
so
printing money next, right?
Yeah.
I'll rescind that motion. I'll make a new motion to approve the policy.
perfect. And did you want to add in about the printing?
I guess that would be a place to put it. Add in a line where we would.
First year.
First year
sales
sales.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Revisit after.
at a minimum of 2
Okay.
times. First year.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
Motion by Sutterbach, second by Schomer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you, Amy.
Good job. Move on to 7.3, continued discussion from the last meeting. Consider the development of city comments to the Metropolitan Council 2050 system plan process. Blair, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. All right. Pull it up. So I think Eric provided you all with the most recent draft in hard copy prior to this meeting. This incorporated some additional comments in the summary or the intro paragraph about how the housing policies tie into some of the legislative efforts that didn't make it through this session. And then a couple other spelling and grammar errors were brought to my attention. Page 4, under growth, project needed to be projected. I've updated that on my online version since we're gonna try and submit that, well, we're going to submit it tonight. And then on the last page, page 5, adjusting Scott County to be grammarly correct with possessive instead of IES. Otherwise, this letter that you have in front of you today is a lot more bulked up than the last one. But I had mentioned to the mayor that I've had some conversations with some other planners and been trading letters and utilizing some of the issues and some of the communities that I've been talking with are in a similar circumstance where their designation was adjusted, or one of the issues is that they actually got rid of a designation that was in the 2040 plan. So that's where some of this has been shoved into the suburban edge this time. So I hope that the tone is more to what you guys were looking for in terms of being direct and particularly on that community designation. And then I also added in this round some more specific policies within their draft documents that I think are definitely a talking point for the city and need to be brought to the Met Council's attention. So I'm happy to answer any questions, make any other adjustments. I have the version you have in front of you. I have all cleaned up on my computer here. So if there's any adjustments, I can make them and then we'll send them off to the Met Council this evening.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, appreciate adding in those comments. You know, I suggested we send this to the chair of the Met Council, not to our rep, which is why we changed to Mr. Charlie Zell at the Met Council. The paragraph in red after the intro. You know, if you really read through the 2050 statements, it's a lot, you know, a lot of the items that you know, failed through the missing middle housing bills in the last legislative session, or you know, they're trying to get pulled through the Met Council rather than, you know, legislatively, which is why I suggest we add that paragraph in red. And then also carbon copying at the end on the very last page, you know, making sure that our rep, our council board member, Deb Barber, neighboring council member, our former council board member Wendy Wolf also represents a lot of Scott County. And then Representative Cosmic and Senator Duckworth as well on copying in this letter. Bill, I think you had added some smaller changes and mostly looks like.
Yeah, a lot of mine were nits. There's
Yeah,
two that can I just bring up
Mhm.
that weren't included in the revised draft. One of them, we say that it's right before growth, right before the growth. I don't know what is that page 4 or 5?
Yeah, page 4.
The increased density requirement will have a significant impact on the historical rural community character of Credit River and is something that is at a minimum fiscally unmaintainable. I suggested we use the words also unattainable, or don't you think that's appropriate?
Instead of unmaintainable?
Both
Or both?
is neither fiscally, well, I don't know. Unattainable sounds like we can't do it, so get it out.
That was probably my language when I first put it in, as opposed to the thunder stickler.
Unmaintainable is more like, it's just a hassle. Unattainable is,
It's fine. I mean, I think they want, our thought in putting that language in is to say, hey, that developing housing can be good or bad, but it can't force a fiscal irresponsibility on the part of the city. Can say it that way.
Yeah.
An impossibility onto the city. So whatever you prefer, if you want to tighten that up, that's absolutely great for me.
I'll leave it to the council. I'd use the most
Good.
concerning word to me is it's unattainable.
I did,
I mean, I listened to Savage Planning Commission and they're saying that they can't get to their density requirements and they have all of that development there.
And
It's
they're
like
the-
it's unattainable.
They're the same designation as you all, which is, I had put
Right.
that in this letter. 'Cause
Right.
I think that's a huge
So-
like the term impossible.
miss, yeah.
Fiscally
At a
impossible.
minimal fiscally,
Unattainable.
I think you could put, and it's something that is unattainable, at minimum fiscally unmaintainable.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you. And then just one, well, I'll let you finish. Claire.
I'm.
she was
good.
done.
Yeah.
Your
good.
turn, Bill.
It's
The
okay.
other one was in the growth. I mentioned something about employment growth too, that not only is population growth ridiculous, they have employment growth in this decade, 2020 to 2030, growing 38%. And then next year, the next decade, it grows 0.7%. And then the next decade, it grows 0.7%. So I don't know, these forecasts are gonna be changing all that stuff, but maybe we just highlight employment growth is way out of line too.
Okay.
Remember though, the employment growth could be work from home and, because you remember, because like when they did the census, there's 400 some businesses or people doing business in Credit River today. I wonder if they're
That's a good-
I wonder if
that's-
they're counting that as potential for growth.
Yep, that's a great point. Maybe they can tell us that that's in their forecast. And you
Maybe that
mentioned
would be
something in there that show us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got
I think
this.
that would be a better,
Maybe I just specify
yeah, we would be
employment,
curious.
household and
Thank-
population.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. That's all I had. And I assume that you got the little nits and all that stuff.
Yep, that's all redlined and updated.
Thank you. I thought it was very good. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yours is much better written than the one I sent out. Mine was more mad
Took the
typing.
daggers out of it. Less capital letters.
I didn't proof it either. I didn't proof it.
Jay, I think you've got
Yeah,
some notes, and we'll just move down and Leroy and Dave have some as well, but let's go.
Yeah,
down
I have
the
a
table.
couple, I guess it would be page 2.
Hang on one second. Finance, please, we. Jay's trying to-
A couple, I guess it would be page 2 under objective 1, policy 2, action 3, residential density requirements and policy standards. It states, I think we would, somewhere in here, we want to work in, I believe, adding in shoreland setbacks and easements and requirements. Because we have a lot of actual shoreline throughout here, which that does affect density quite a bit. So that should go into the net. Also, I think we should add into that thoughts on private schools, churches, cemeteries, and other places of assembly, of which Credit River currently has none and may need to have some. Those things should be figuring into that net density as well. Then I had all the way back, I think is that page 4, right after growth. we're missing, it says, according to the most recent local population, household and employment forecast released this summer by the Metropolitan Council, the city of, we've changed that, Credit River is it should be projected
Projected, yep.
to grow to a population of 64 to 27.
Thank you for
That's
that
it.
catch.
Yeah.
That's it.
Leroy? Okay, Dave?
I love the language, thank you. That's much, much better, in my opinion. The only thing that I had was, I think we wanna call out Suburban Edge, under land use, page 2. I think we wanna call out that Suburban Edge is moving to 4. I know they understand that, but I think we have to highlight that in some way. Cause we talk about where it's a challenge for us to hit 3, but I think calling out that we're trying to increase to 4.
Yeah.
I think would be.
That they're trying
important.
to.
25% increase.
They are, that they
We're
are.
not trying to, they are trying to.
Yeah, I think that just needs to be called out. So maybe if it's the first sentence to Suburban Edge, and then maybe it's comma 4 per unit.
The increase to 4.
Yeah.
is
Which
happening
represents a
next
33% increase in density you want
Yeah,
us to.
I like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thank you. That was very
Yeah.
well written.
Okay. No other comments. I would take a motion to approve the letter with the noted changes and
Make a motion.
approve that
To approve with
the
the noted
planner
changes.
submits those on behalf of the city. Thank you, Jay.
Second.
Submit.
Thank you, Abe. I've got a motion by Soderbox, second by Zanto. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
So you will get that submitted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
it is
check
due
it.
today. All right, move on to 7.4, approve of resolution 2024-36, amending the Ranch of Credit River Second Edition approval resolution. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick intro. So this item is very similar to the item that we had a special meeting for the Yellowstone development. So basically, the approval language from March of this year included a term that said the developer may not commence construction of any improvements on the subject property till the final plat, any other agreements, are recorded. So because that previous approval resolution had that language in there, we're asking the council to consider approving a similar resolution as we did previously for the other similar development. And just one other note, the resolution that was included in the packet online has been updated just slightly, and the updated version is in hard copy attached stapled to your agenda.
What changed? Is there, do you know what changed?
B changed slightly,
Was it wording or just like?
just,
crossing
yeah,
out?
mainly just wording.
Okay, council members, any questions, comments?
No.
Hearing none, I'd take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Leroy.
Second.
Thank you, Abe. Motion by Shomer, second by Zanto. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Move on to 7.5, approved grading agreement and permit for the Ranch of Credit River Second Edition. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So now that resolution has been passed, the council can consider the grading agreement for this project. So this is very similar to other developments. In fact, with the first edition, the council approved a grading agreement to allow the developer to start grading prior to consideration of the final plat. So all this work is of course done at the developer's risk. There is a letter of credit requirement in which if there was a need to go in there and repair some erosion or something like that, the city does have a financial security to correct any potential issues. And one other item that I would like to point out, so the final plat for this project is scheduled to come to the city council at the next October meeting. So in just a few weeks, so.
Okay, council members, questions, comments? Does none, I take a motion to approve.
Motion.
Take Abe.
He beat me.
You gonna second that,
I'll
Bill?
second it.
A motion by Zonto, second by Margaret. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to 7.6, which is 3.1 from the consent agenda, which is approving the minutes of the September 23rd, 2024 city council meeting. Councilmember Markert had a,
Yes, I have a slight change to the meeting minutes and I just have to pull them up, get to it. Where are they? There they are. So, bear with me. Under the meeting minutes, the general business 7.1, 2025 preliminary levy, the second paragraph starts out by saying the goal established at the previous council meeting was to keep the tax rate flat between 2024 and 2025. I would like to add the words, the goal for the preliminary levy established. So for the preliminary levy is the words I would like to insert between goal and established. Just to be clear that that was the goal for the preliminary levy, because that was what we wanted for the highest. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the goal for the final levy.
Yeah.
So if we could just add those 4 words, that's what I'm proposing.
okay, I'm good with the change. If everybody's good with the change, I would take a motion.
I'll motion to approve the meeting minutes with those 4 words added for the preliminary levy after the word established.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Markert, second by Schomer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Move on to 7.7, MSA proposal. I don't know who's gonna take anything. We don't have anything in our packet on that one.
We do not have anything in our packet on that. Everybody should have received, though, city council members received an email from the city administrator this afternoon that was from a resident that has 9 names, addresses, requesting that the city council initiate a comp plan amendment and conduct the process as expeditiously and efficiently as possible. And I'm not sure if you want me to read these names or not, but because we received that, I would like to make a motion tonight for the city council to reconsider the vote that occurred on September 20th, where we were looking at MSA to produce a analysis for us to determine whether it was in our benefit as a city to make an amendment to our zoning ordinance. We still have to figure out whether we need one for the Met Council, because I'm not even sure we need a comp plan amendment since that land is already reflected, classified as diversified rural. But I'd like the city council to reconsider its decision now that we know that there's at least 9 property owners. These are property owners that would be impacted by changing our zoning ordinance should they choose to change what they want to do with their land. And I'm anticipating we're going to have a lot more residents coming out in another petition that may not own property up in the northern part of Credit River, but are very interested in pursuing at least that analysis to tell us the pros and cons of it and whether we need a comp plan amendment and what do we have to do for the zoning ordinance and all those other things that were in our meeting packet from a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to make a motion for the city council to reconsider its vote from last meeting and ask that the city council approve the MSA analysis. I think it was $4,800 for that study to be completed based on the new information we have. That's my motion.
Apologize, Councilmember Markert, if I may.
Yes.
Eric, we turn your microphone on, please. Hold the button now. There you go.
I don't know what your past protocol has been, or I'm no expert in Robert's rules. My experience is that somebody who was in the winning side of the motion, so to speak, is the more proper person to offer a motion of reconsider.
And my understanding of Robert's rules is that the people that lost the vote are the ones that can ask for reconsideration. So
Well, then again, this is a fun topic about process versus the issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Because why would, I guess in my head, why would the people that voted in favor of something want to have it reconsidered for another vote?
If there was new information that they wanted to reconsider their
Right.
vote, then they would reconsider.
So
their
they
vote.
would, exactly, and they would, if the three, one of the persons on the prevailing side of the motion wanted to make a motion to reconsider, I think that's one path, or you suspend, and then you go down the whole tail of suspending Robert's rules and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
If it's a practical sense, then you can talk about it, so to speak, and if one of the people in the prevailing side wanted to reconsider, maybe it's an academic question anyway, so it's not worth. And I could be wrong with all of that, so.
Right.
So before we get to that though, is there any comments, question or discussion on the topic?
Yeah, I have a few things.
Sorry about
one. My thoughts on this would be to table it until the next meeting. Even if the motion is made. Because I haven't actually had a chance to read this new information yet that came this afternoon. I see it's in my email box, but I haven't actually had a chance to look at it. Second, from what I saw there, and was told there are 9 petitioners. I think the first question would be, what is the validity of the petition? Is it a petition or is it just coming forth? Is it information? Is it informal? And third, how many properties are affected? So what percentage is the 9 of all of them? Is it 9?
There's 9 listed, quickly reading through, I can see that there's 2 of them that the property owners don't have more than 20 acres. So they would not be, this one here is 2 10-acre properties. This one here is 15. I don't know about the rest of them. Those are just the 2 that I can recognize just by looking at the list.
Yeah,
Because then one of these is a double, the name is listed twice.
Okay. Is it actually, I mean, is this a presented petition for action? Or I guess I don't know how one would bring a petition forth to the city or to the council for an action. So,
So you'd like clarification on that,
yeah,
basically from staff?
Yeah, from staff. I think I would like to know. Yeah, I would further, I think if we were gonna look at doing this, because we did hear from one property owner that was not interested in that the night that we looked at it, and they're a major property holder in that area. I think, would it be wrong to go out and survey the rest of the property owners to see what they're, what they would want us to do? Otherwise, when we look at this, it's easy for somebody to come forth that wants to do it, essentially with asking for a variance.
Text amendment for their property or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure we should be doing it. Unless we have a majority of property owners that are affected that would want it. This isn't about having a different, somebody who's not the property owner making changes to the ability of somebody else to do what they want with the property. So those are my comments. I think that we should probably get some information on that. And, if that's per the Roberts rules, depending on what that comes forward with, I may look at modifying my vote and asking for it to be reconsidered. Okay, but only after getting that stuff in from, that information.
I think it's fair to table for more information, given this is something that came through at 3:30 this afternoon. 2.5 hours before our meeting.
Mayor, I didn't look at it either. I don't look at it daily, but I do look at it every few days, so I didn't. And on same boat with Jay. Maybe table it till the next meeting and then we can figure everything out here.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think while I agree with the sentiment, I think our bylaws do say that we cannot have a vote if it's added after the agenda goes out. So
That's subjective.
I wholeheartedly agree with the sentiment of having it reconsidered, but I think this sets a precedent that we can add at any time and it doesn't get in the agenda.
So can I make a motion then? So I withdraw my original motion. Can I make a motion to put this on the next city council meeting to discuss? And can I make a request from Jay to, I didn't write down everything that you said, but can you send what you're looking for from Eric? Or to Eric, so we can address all of your issues? And then, do we know what the Roberts rules are?
Yes, so the motion to rescind can be made only by the members who voted in the prevailing side of the original vote.
Prevailing side. So somebody that loses a vote can never bring it up again for reconsideration.
Because it was defeated.
Basically.
Wow,
the-
that's
basically
crazy.
The intent of it is, in some sense, is otherwise you'll have a never-ending conversation, if given the wrong set of people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's government for you, just. Yeah. Well, I apologize, and then I'm,
So,
then I'm in the wrong there, but,
so Bill, you're
okay.
making a motion to table?
I would like it on the agenda based on what we have here, and hopefully by then we're gonna have a lot more signatures, not just from property owners, but I think this impacts all of our residents in the whole entire city of Credit River. Not just those property owners. So yeah, so Mr. Mayor, I forgot what you asked me.
I asked if you're making a motion to table until the next meeting.
Well, I withdrew my motion, so I don't really need to table anything, but my request is to add I'd like to make a motion to discuss this at the next meeting.
Table it until next meeting.
Okay, all right.
So you're
Table
basically
until next
asking-
I don't know what I'm asking.
Yeah, you're asking to table. Table and put it
I
up.
don't want it to be
Table,
buried
table.
in.
To help out the whole conversation, from what I hear is, and just for Amy's sake, and she's gonna have to make us all look good in the paper.
Yeah.
Is that, the city received X information. Councilmember Markert, would like to talk about what they receive next week, or at the next meeting, and you just kind of leave it at that.
Perfect.
And whatever kind of comes out of it, maybe it's just the easiest thing to do.
Could clarification, would one thing, if I can convince more votes for it though, can we have a vote next time, or does it have to be part of the meeting packet next time? Because I don't want to come in 2 weeks from now and then we talk about it, but then
Right.
nothing happens and then then the city has to wait another
You know,
2 weeks.
on the process.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I don't know that we're in a hurry for anything.
Yeah, I mean,
We don't have, there's nothing pressing any of this.
okay, so just let me add a couple more comments. to
Yeah.
this. I don't see where we have to rush this. And, if we get it, we should get it right if we're gonna do it. And if we,
We can't.
at least if you have, well, let me.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry.
All right, so if we are going to do this, I think then if you're gonna have a petition out, we should get the rest of the people, or at least the information from the rest of the property owners. Whether they're against it or for it, maybe you can add that to the petition. Or just basically call it a survey.
Right.
And let's get the quantity of properties that are actually, would be affected by this. Which would be, they have to have at least 20 acres. Any property that's larger than 20 acres. And I would probably further state, maybe we should be looking at in this area that's in the zoning. Because having a property
That's
that's
what I
on
think
the
what
south
the
end.
topic was pretty well specific towards the urban expansion.
Right.
area anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the property towards the south end.
It's diversified rule is the area that I'm talking about,
Right.
which is urban expansion reserve. And I thought that was what the analysis was going to do for us, but we voted down spending $4,800 to do the analysis. So I'm trying to figure out a way, trying to convince you guys, let's do the analysis for $4,800 to determine whether we're just wasting our time talking about this or not. So that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do. And I heard at the last couple meetings that there was no interest in this. So I know that residents heard that and they've started to do petitions. These were property owners that did them, and I apologize if there's one extra one on here. But there's other people that will be impacted by development in the northern part of Credit River if things stay the way they are. And so I think that the entire city is is impacted by this, not just the property owners. Because if you remember what in 2 weeks ago, the request was to take a look at what other ordinances, what other things we could do to our ordinance to kind of preserve and protect what I hear city residents want, which is open spaces, which is rural environment. And so that was something else that that was part of the analysis. So that's what I'm trying to get at. And I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to, if someone could tell me how to do it, I'd appreciate it. So that's
We
what
will
I'm
add it
getting.
back to the next agenda.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things. I think it's important because during our conversation last time, the statement was what made it not one individual is interested in this, and that's now proven not true. The second thing is, I don't remember the variance. I've been removed from the planning commission for long enough, but doesn't variance have 3 or 4 different qualifications? And if someone's asked for a variance because I want to be able to split my land, doesn't probably qualify for one of those variances. And the third thing is, even if someone doesn't state they want it right now, I have a hard time thinking our residents that have 20 or more would say, I'd like to restrict my option for the future. So that's where I'm feeling.
Okay, we will have that on our next agenda.
Thank you.
So let's move into 7.8, going back to another poll from consent agenda. So I pulled the claims because I want to pull the one claim Citizen Serve annual billing for 11 Citizen Serve user subscriptions. I want to pull that and delay that payment so that we can negotiate to a more reasonable number of users on that license. So we don't need 11 users.
Oh, wow.
To be fair, I
That's good.
just caught it and I said, I don't think we need 11 anymore, where that number came from, so
Mhm.
we'll just check back in with them and do a better count.
Is that our future staff?
Well, yeah, maybe that came from that. I think even if that were pro or con, I
I'm
don't
just
know, but we
kidding.
don't need 15 or 11
No.
right now.
I thought we had to have some for Scott County and some.
There was some other ones that we needed, you're right, but not 11.
No,
I can't even in my head count up 11.
Yeah.
You know, not
it's
unless
probably future
all
staff.
5 of us want one, and you know.
I don't even want one. I guess I have.
Cause you'd like all those pieces of
Yeah.
paper coming through and everything, all those people filing in
Yeah.
I'm getting a water heater, I need the
Yeah.
permit, right?
I think we might need 5 or 6, I don't know.
I think you're
It's
probably-
half the number.
It is half the number.
Good catch. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. So I will take a motion to approve the claims minus the Citizen Serve. So moved. Thank you, Jay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Abe. Motion by Satterbach, second by Zonto. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We got staff and council member updates. Eric, anything?
No, sir.
Abe?
Yeah, we had our first citizen advisory committee for the government center. Jay, I'm not sure when the next meeting is. You'll probably remember that. but-
Wednesday.
Perfect. Okay. Great conversation. I think we're right on the right path and having a lot of documents pulled by staff. Thank you very much. So looking forward to this for future conversations.
Okay, Leroy?
Nothing,
Nothing?
busy farming, so we didn't do anything. Great weather.
Perfect. Jay, anything?
Oh, that's it.
Just one, I guess I'll back up on one thing. Tomorrow, if anybody's interested, scale meeting general session tomorrow, we'll have updates from our healthcare systems in Scott County. That's all I got. Bill?
We have a vision committee meeting tomorrow, advisory committee meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. I'll be attending that. And then I met with Eric and Tessa a week ago Monday in a Zoom meeting to talk about some of the concerns I had related to the preliminary levy presentation. It really was related to the fund balances that were being reflected in the preliminary levy documents. And I think Tessa agreed that there was one thing that wasn't linked properly and that caused the end of year balance or depending on how you look at it, the end of 24 balance or the beginning of 25 balance. It wasn't picking up a certain balance amount. So Those will be corrected when we have our workshop, which made me feel a lot better, because I think we have more money than what was being reflected there. So that is all I have. Was there anything else we talked about? I don't.
No, and to say, offer the rest of the council too, if you want to have any one-on-ones with Tessa, we'll gladly accommodate that too.
Yep,
Perfect.
that's it.
All right, sounds good. With that.
Can I make the motion to adjourn, please?
Mr. Mayor, just one quick thing. I just want to make everybody aware that in about 2 weeks, 170th Street will be closed for approximately 1 week for the culvert replacement.
A whole week.
So it's gonna be the week of October 21st, at least that's what we know now. There'll be some signs that go up ahead of time that indicate when it's gonna be closed. And then once those signs go up, we'll hold the contractor to that. So
Shane, would you please draft an email to Amy tomorrow, just so that we have, and then Amy, let's make sure we put out a email blast on that. That is undoubtedly our busiest road that Credit River actually isn't.
that's why I wanted to mention something tonight.
Yeah.
And usually.
It was worth waiting for the.
It was, yeah.
Usually we notify school and.
Yeah, we better
So-
notify the bus company,
Yeah.
transportation at the district.
And the fire department.
Yeah. Okay. School district.
No question before I give you.
You have something else in the,
No,
was that really? that?
let's adjourn
Okay.
first.
All
Can I
right,
make
so
that motion now, Mr. Mayor?
I'll keep your motion from Zonto,
I'll second it.
second by Schomer, motion is second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Are you on a signature?
Now you'll say.